and you see that it's not what it was early in the year. Does this break give you an opportunity to fine-tune a couple things and try to get things closer to where they were?
I mean, yeah, you want to play consistent. Obviously, played really well in Wake Forest, and it really had more to do with us than them, to be honest with you. I know without question I'm our own worst critic. And played really well a good portion of the North Carolina game, which against a very good team. Been really displeased with our lapses that we've had in both the South Carolina game and the North Carolina game, particularly there in the fourth quarter. Where we got to have more of a killer instinct, and I can't say it's everybody. It's there's been a few different guys that doesn't take much. You're out of a run fit, or you assume somebody else is going to make the play or whatever. But I know what we're capable of and what we've done a good majority of the year, and our guys have recognized some of our shortcomings, have worked hard to correct some of those things, and really, as much as anything, it's just having it's a mindset and an attitude. So they know we can't have those lapses in this game. Yeah. Yeah.
Quarterback. I mean, is it a deal where there's be a little bend, just don't break?
I'm not really into that. I do recognize and respect, their ability to make plays, and they will make plays. We won't have to make every play. We're not going to be able to make every play, and so our ability to refocus and recoil and again play with a one playing out mentality will be incredibly important, and getting stops, controlling field position, hopefully creating turnovers, not allow them to consistently establish themselves in the running game. Those are all things that are important every week, but this team can obviously really hurt you, and get behind you and they can take control of the game in a minute just because of their explosiveness and playmaking ability at both in the running game and at quarterback and at receiver. They get a lot of big plays, probably like our offense. I don't really get a chance to watch our offense a whole lot, but I think that the last half of the season, what I've noticed with Oklahoma is their ability to consistently own the line of scrimmage, and their running game has really taken off. I thought the second half of the season, whether it's more of a commitment or just kind of finding all their parts, just like every team, every year, I think that the best teams you've been around, you kind of find your way as the season goes on. You develop an identity, and then you continue to improve and get better as the year goes on. So that's what you've seen from Oklahoma.
When you turn off the film, Coach, what stands out about Baker Mayfield to you?
Oh, she's everything. His attitude, his leadership, his toughness, as he imposes his will, plays with a great deal of passion. You can see he loves to play, loves to compete. It's very natural. He's a winner. But obviously his ability to extend plays and improvise and cause you a lot of fits because of his dual capacity. Those are tough things to defend. Everybody says, it's hard to stop the running quarterback. You guys can't. It's like every team's media and/or fan base thinks their defense is the only defense that can't stop the running quarterback. And it's like, no, I can stop the running quarterback. It's the one that can run and that can pass with good players around him that's hard to defend. Look at Cam Newton. I know they stubbed their toe yesterday, but ding, ding, ding. Those guys are hard to stop. But he's fun to watch, and obviously followed Oklahoma all year, not anticipating playing them, but just because I'm a big fan of their team and the people that are associated with their team, and so I got to watch. Dean and I were just talking about the TCU game, and it was just one of those crazy games, but the great players like Baker find ways to win, and he did the same thing, at Tennessee. I think I tweeted. I'm not a big tweeter in the impulsive moment, but I had to tweet Boomer for him because when they won that game, what a neat moment that was for everybody. But as you watch, I think it was maybe 17-0 they came back from. Those are program defining and season defining, I should say, not program defining. Oklahoma has had plenty of big wins through the years, but season defining type wins. And sure enough, lo and behold, I remember that night, me and my boys were watching it late, living every play with those guys, and but really admiring Baker and Sterling kind of taking over that game there in that fourth quarter. But so that's kind of what I think. It's going to be a tough challenge, but it's fun. It's we as a defense, us as a team, we're really looking forward to the challenge, kind of seeing how we match up. We recognize the stakes, but I think you can't get too uptight in it, and I think that you're going to stop everything that they do. You just got to make enough plays, and but see how our guys match up, with their guys, and it's kind of the three-headed monster with those guys, between the backs, the quarterback, and, Shepard, and you got plenty of other receivers as well.
How do you feel you do match up in that defensive front versus offensive line? Because they came on and they're running for big yardage, and at the same time they're not overpowering too much. How do you match up?
Well, when people start to spread you out and force you to defend the perimeters, that opens up opportunities, inside. And anytime you've got a dual threat, the running quarterback, that creates just a different level of stress, for that front seven and even the secondary. So, you combine that with, I know Mike Stoops has gone on record as saying he's not a big fan of the run-pass tags, where offensive linemen are blocking and slightly down the field, and they also have the opportunity to throw the ball within the rules down the field. So, those are all stressful things. And so I think that they've, again, found their grooves, so to speak, and the backs are so powerful. They break a ton of tackles at both the first and the second level, and God help us all if they get to the third level. And they've got great balance, strength, power, speed, catch the ball well, can run inside, run outside. So, I think they're athletic up front, and so they do a lot of where they pull people and create levels on the second level, and can divide the defense in a hurry, and then the quarterback can always keep it out of the same look. So, I think they've just kind of they've gotten their continuity down, and that has taken with so many new starters that they have. I think that it's just taken them some time, but from, again, mid-season on, they've really have found their way and their identity, and have imposed their will on really everybody the last half of the season.
Was there a moment last year in the game across at any point and said, I know it looks so familiar, but I'm on this side, on the sideline, over there. Was there any point in the game when you looked over there?
Oh,
I felt a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, once the game was, fourth quarter, sure, I'd be a liar if I said no. But you felt for them, whatever, that means, nobody wants to, to be on, the wrong end of those. But you coach long enough, you've been on them plenty of times. But so, yeah, I mean, before the game, all that, I don't know, just part of life.
Clemson's faced two of the top running backs in the country and now does that give the defense an extra sense of confidence going up against the guy?
I don't know. I haven't looked, going into this game, haven't looked back and says, oh, well, we have played Cook and Hood. I think that, P. Ryan, that combination is the best combination we've seen, P. Ryan and Mixon, between their size, their power, their speed. I think P. Ryan's just a little bit better version of Hood, he's whatever. It doesn't really matter. I can compare them all day if you want, but P-Ron's pretty special, and Mixon he got an incredible future as well. So it's a tough challenge, and again, every game's a little bit different, but neither one of those two teams had Mayfield and handing the ball off and pulling it and all that. So that's the X factor, going into this game.
From your point of view, is this OU offense a completely different animal than the one that you saw and prepared for?
I don't know. I don't know. That's it's easy to say now. I don't know. Last year their numbers weren't far off from what they are this year. I think they feel different from a leadership standpoint and where they're at going into this game. Obviously, they had they had lost. They had some guys injured, and then they had lost their last game before they're coming into ours. They were limping more. They had some really tough losses. The TCU game, and I think the K-State game, and then the Oklahoma State game. Some real tough losses in the way they lost on the punt return. But so there's some similarities for sure. A lot of familiar faces. But obviously the change at quarterback. Trevor had a good year a year ago, and Baker's having an incredible. He's having a Heisman type year. That's another level. And they weren't far off a year ago. And I know everybody thinks all of a sudden they were 0-10 going into our game. We're 0-12. They are a good team that was a few plays away. At one point, I think it was overtime to TCU, and 1 point loss to K-State, and lost on a freak punt return. Went to overtime against Oklahoma State. They're still a few teams away from being 12-1, and us not playing them last year. That's how close. I mean, so that's kind of the perspective. They got a very good team. They're very balanced. They're more experienced in their secondary. Mike Stoops didn't know how to coach pass defense a year ago. Same group of guys coming back. They're just so young a year ago. Young guys play the young, and then you got a whole group of them on the back end in that league. You're just going to be a little bit unsure of yourself and not as good at tacklers and bust coverages and things like that. So same group back, and and then they're top 10, 15 in the country in pass defense and a top 20 defense. So they've got a team that's coming in with a great deal of the proverbial mojo and confidence, and that's important, how you feel at the end of the year. And I think they got great confidence for obvious reasons. I don't think they're overconfident, and they're very skilled, experienced where they need to be, and they got a very experienced defense and as well, and a good kicking game. So, I think they feel great, coming in. And a year ago, probably a little bit unsure of themselves coming into the game. So, good thing is Clemson feels good both years. We felt good last year going in, and we feel good again this year. With all due respect to the game and the opponent and those types of things, we got a good football team as well, and we think we match up well.
Coach, removing X's and O's, and you're consistent a lot. Every year you put one of the best defenses in America on the field. You just do. What about you has enabled you to sustain that level of production? And all these guys say, it's consistency, same thing every day. What else? What is it about you?
Well, it's good players. You got to have good players.
All right, guys, 5 minutes left in here.
But I think treating every game like it's a Super Bowl. Some people, now this year's going to be different. How do you approach this year's game? Last year was the Super Bowl. Last year we were playing the 49ers. I think being that consistent with that mindset, I think, the next third down is the biggest third down I've ever coached in my life. And I think, when the players feel that kind of passion and that kind of intensity, I think it takes on a life of its own, so to speak. And then having, quality coaches that understand and we're all on the same page. But it's not rocket science, so to speak, but at the same, I think it's a combination of good players and just, again, the preparation that goes into it, I really believe that.
Are they this year with getting that COC?
Well, obviously it's a different system than what they ran. Some similarities out of the spread. I think it's a really what you see on tape is what you're going to get. They're going to have a few wrinkles like everybody, but not the drastic wrinkles. I think they have a system that they believe in, and there's some simplicity to it. He's a Leach disciple. I worked with Mike Leach. I know how he thinks just in regards to, I don't have necessarily the blueprint on how to stop him, but I understand they've got just a few routes, and they want to run them really, really well. It's kind of like Nebraska back in Tom Osborne days. You knew exactly what Nebraska was going to do out of every formation, at every different part of the field. When they got inside the 10 or when they crossed the 50, they're going to go this and this, and that's it. And it comes down to the precision and the execution, and then the confidence that comes down with that. And they've got answers to what you're doing, it's pretty simple from week to week. And then you got good players, and they put the ball in their players' hands and let them go to work.
Was it different than when you were with Mike back when you guys were guys?
Yeah, we had Quentin Griffin, and they got P. Ryan, that freak. So, Quentin was a great player too, and but I think they're, the backs are bigger and more powerful, more explosive, and I think so, because you're in space so much more. They spread you out, and so you're really forced to defend. You're trying to defend the run and the pass both, and then you got these monsters that are running downhill or out in space on those swing passes, and so you're having to make more plays in space against really some better players, so that's a big part of it. But the dual threat ability, we didn't have that in Leach's day. We were really good at throwing it, but the quarterback wasn't near the runner. Although we ran some speed option and ran the quarterback draw, I remember in the national championship, it was just enough to keep the defense off balance. It's always been a big part of the game. When a quarterback can extend plays and become a legitimate runner, a threat that way, it's harder to defend. Now you have to commit more players. Okay, who's got the quarterback? Who's got the dive? Who's got the outside half of the quarterback? Okay, who's going to be the alley and the pitch player? And you have to be sound in everything that you're doing to account for those things.
Coach, how much do you think about being a head coach? And how many calls have you fielded with 20 job openings in the last few years?
I love my job. I love where I work, who I work with, the players that I coach. I love the simplicity of what I do. I really value being somewhere where you can win and be successful. That, to me, ultimately, along with the people that you work with, defines fulfillment and happiness. And I see so many coaches out there that, to me, that prostitute themselves up the corporate proverbial ladder and try to go from this job to this job. I've moved twice, and the first time not so bad. Emotionally, it was tough leaving Kansas State to go to Oklahoma, but I didn't have my family. I had my wife, and that was it. And so I didn't think it really would be a big deal leaving Oklahoma to go to Clemson, and then everything that it entailed. Once we made the move, how incredibly hard that was. I mean, it is, for anybody that has moved, I've been very lucky to only have to move twice. But it was so incredibly emotionally, physically, spiritually. It was hard. Very good at the end, but really, really hard. And I would never want to turn my children's and my wife's lives upside down if I can help it. And I was lucky. I left a great place in Oklahoma and found another great place in Clemson. I've been so blessed. But I value that. And I really believe that my job is better than the majority of head coaching jobs that are out there. So I get consumed zero with the idea or with attempting to position myself to be a head coach. he's like one of those careful what you wish for, and I've seen it. I've been on staffs where you had a bunch of guys that are going to go take that job, and you can be a super coach all day, you know, a 5-star coach, but there are a lot of other outside, you know, factors that determine your success, and there's not many places where you can have it all. And I believe that, you know, I've been at a few places, I've had it all, and I don't want to let it go. So, you know, I'm not a young spring chicken either. I'm not real, but I'm not going to do this for 20 more years. Not in my world. I'm going to, you know, so again, that's kind of just, I got everything I need. I don't need more money. I don't need more any titles. You know, I just let me coach my backers and my defense. So I've had people that have reached out, and Power 5 jobs that, you know, I don't need more money or to be a head coach. I know those places. You know, so I love waking up every day and being passionate about the product that I represent, and the people that I represent, where I pull up in my parking space every day, and there's a lot of people, not just in the coaching profession, that don't feel that way about their jobs, and I do. So why would I jeopardize that? So maybe that's safe. That's being on the safe side of it, and but I don't need to be overly ambitious. I'm trying to make Clemson as good as we can be, and to field a great defense, and to coach great players, and to have a quality of life for my family, and we have it all. So I'm just not one that's real interested in trying to screw that up. Thank you.